Hello everybody and welcome, I am Bricker Boom, and today we're going to be tackling a new challenge and one I'm excited to get into. We're going to see if I can beat a Pokemon Emerald Hardcore Nuzlocke. Now, given the fact that I'm still somewhat inexperienced with the game, I didn't add in any kind of monotype lock or letter lock. However, I did still add in your typical hardcore Nuzlocke rules. What that means is I can only catch one Pokemon per route. If that Pokemon faints, it's dead. I nickname every Pokemon to grow emotionally attached. This way, when I say goodbye, it's that much harder. I cannot level up past the Gym Leader's Ace or the Elite Four's Champion's Ace if we happen to make it that far. And no items can be used in battle, but in between is fine. If needed, I can catch other Pokemon for HM use, and finally, Battle Mode is technically on Switch because I forgot to set it onto set, but you'll still see that with each battle, I do not switch in between. When they're switching, I do still force myself to take that hit. I don't know why, it just never actually occurred to me. But to hop into the run, I know how brutal Watson can be if given the opportunity, so we go ahead and pick our starter as Mudkip. We can handle the Poochyena, and when given the choice, we name him Skipper. With an ability of Torrent and a quirky nature, that means a neutral stat gain, and a solid water ground typing once he evolves. With this, we head to the May fight, and at level 6, we exchange attacks until we finally do manage to take Trico down and level up in the process. We finish the rest of the beginning game stuff and grab our Pokeballs from the professor, and with Pokeballs in hand and a dream in our heart, we go ahead and start our journey. From here, we manage to get a few team members, and it starts with Pupperoni the Poochyena, Flappers the Wingull, Ferngully the Lotad, and finally Mystery the Wurmple. For the most part, we don't have any particular name scheme for this run, since this isn't any kind of type lock. And then as we move on, we also catch Butters the Tailo. While we're certainly very heavy on a water and flying team right now, that's not a bad thing with the Rock Gym coming up. Now, I will be honest, I do use rare candies to make sure that we don't have to spend too much grinding time to save us, time and be able to produce videos quicker, but for this early in the game, we do actually level up grinding to ensure proper IVs before we go to see how we fare against Roxanne. Along the way, Mystery evolves into Dustox, and Ferngully evolves into Lombre. From there, it's time to go ahead and try our hand at fighting Roxanne, and I feel pretty confident given our starter. We make sure to get Skipper pretty close to leveling up, since we can be as high as the Gym Leader's Ace, and level up after the battle starts. Both of the Geodude go down in a single shot, and with that we level up to 16, just in time for Nose Pass. Now, Nose Pass is a bit bulkier, but Water Gun from Skipper is still doing a decent bit of damage. Rock Tomb hits for a decent chunk and lowers our speed, and we get blocked to prevent being able to switch out. We do use Mud Slap to try wrecking its accuracy and let us live a bit longer as a berry heals us up. It does begin using Harden, and we use another Water Gun, which lands a crit and takes it out to win us the first badge. Along the way, we do actually manage to snag an Abra, which is surprising that we named Lucky, because having a strong Psychic type is going to be great. Now, I am going to be honest, this game is filled to the brim with Dark types, so it isn't as useful as I would like, but you still can't go wrong with a Speedy Glass Cannon. Now, just like I do in my regular challenge runs, I won't be covering the grunt battles most likely. If we somehow manage to have a Pokemon taken out by them, well, then I'll cover it, and then also be extra angry at myself because grunt battles are typically a joke, even in solo Pokemon runs. The journey to Brawley is a simple one that evolves with Skipper, Lucky, and Pupperoni all getting leveled up along the way. While Mightyena isn't the best Pokemon, it does have Intimidate, which immediately makes it useful for at least a Sacrificial Lamb if needed. With Brawley, we start with Butters due to it having access to some decent flying moves and send him out. We do give Oran Berries to ensure a possible extra hit and hit the start button. Machop is first, and we use Wing Attack to take it down in one shot. Metatite is next, and begin using Focus Punch, and we use Wing Attack for another clean one shot. Last up is Makuhita, and it's time to wrap this up nicely. We use Wing Attack, and... Oh no. Makuhita uses Bulk Up, and we hope that the next attack will take it out after the heal up. We hit it with Wing Attack down to red, and...
Oh, that's a lot of damage!
The first of our children fall. Lucky comes out and uses Confusion to finish up the battle to win us a second badge, but at what cost? I still remember when Butters was first caught, he was so full of life. With a heavy heart, we take Boo the Whismer out and look onto the horizon and vow to never let anything like this happen again. We deliver the letter as promised, and we find ourselves in Slateport. There is some plot that we need to cover, but for the most part, it all goes rather smoothly. Boo is being switch-trained to be able to keep up with the rest of the team, and with only one death and 2 badges, I'm still feeling somewhat confident. From here, it's one of the harder May fights, but with a somewhat diverse team, I have to imagine it won't be as hard as it has been in prior runs. Wingull's out first, and we send out our new friend Sparky the Electrike and paralyze it, but Water Gun is still doing a decent chunk. Knowing how important electric types are, we switch to Flappers, who shrugs off the damage. They begin trading wing attacks back and forth, but we do win the exchange thanks to our berry. Slugma comes out, and we take it to red with Water Gun, but I'll be honest, we aren't looking too good. We do switch to Skipper, who gets poisoned, and we finish off the Slugma. With Grovyle, we send out Pepperoni, who begins tanking absorbs while landing bites, and eventually getting a critical hit to take it down. From the somewhat limited Nuzlocke experience I have, I know I have to play around the critical hits and only take risks when absolutely necessary. Personally, I recommend using a tracker to know exactly what leader, moveset, etc. that you'll be going against to keep your mons safe. Obviously, in a randomizer, that can't and won't happen, but for these, it's keeping me alive, knowing what's coming up next. As we head to Mauville City and fight Wally, it's Wally. We use Sparky to start, then switch over to Skipper to finish the job. Easy enough. The real monster of the city lies beyond those gym doors, and, well, let's just say I'm glad that Skipper evolved. Even with that being the case, we still train up on the trainers to the east, west, and north of us before we're brave enough to go take him on. With Watson, we cross our fingers and pray. At the very least, Skipper should make it through, but I can't promise as much for the rest of the team. Watson sends out Voltorb, and we start with Mudshot, getting hit with a soft critical rollout. Mudshot misses, and the next rollout, despite being more powerful, actually does less damage before the Voltorb goes down. Next up is Electrike, who we hit with Mudshot as we also take it down. Skipper levels up to 25, and Magneton is next. Thankfully, Magneton doesn't have Levitate or have Magnet Rise, and there's a long delay in my move choice because I am frantically checking to make sure that's the case, but we do finally land on Mudshot, get hit with Sonic Boom before we take it down. Last is Manectric, who begins by howling, and we use Mudshot to take it to yellow as we lower its speed, and his berry heals it. It uses Quick Attack to take us below half, as we land another Mudshot to take it out and win the battle. Along the way, and some travel later, our Flappers evolves into a big boy as we make our way through some more plotline. And this will be one of the battles that we actually cover with the Magma Aqua plotlines. It's one of the many times that we fight Maxie. Maxie likes to start with Mighty Ina, and we use Sparky to rely on that special attack after the Intimidation dropped physical. Thunderwave paralyzes it, and we get Sand attacked, but we do manage to take it to red in a few turns. Maxie does end up withdrawing Mighty Ina, and we switch to Skipper to hit Camerupt with Mudshot 2 times before it goes down, but Skipper's health is not great. We do switch over to Flappers as Maxie potions up, and we use Supersonic to confuse it, as it hits itself twice before a wing attack takes it down. Last up is Zubat, and we hit it hard with 2 wing attacks to take it down and win the battle. As we continue to move on to the next gym, I just want to hit you with a general reminder to hit that like and subscribe button. It lets me know that you're enjoying the content. Overall, I've been enjoying the Nuzlocke experience, especially after doing solo challenges, and would love ideas for more. I still need to complete a hardcore Nuzlocke, or rather any kind of Nuzlocke for Heart Gold, so that might be up next depending on what we do. I've found that with Nuzlocks especially, it is much harder to actually be able to complete these and make smart moves when I'm also not trying to pay attention to chat. From here, it's time to square up against Flannery, and once again, Skipper is going to be our best chance at survival. Flannery sends out Numel, and we take it down immediately with a hard-hitting mud shot. Slugma, a Pokemon that I think is pretty awful, also goes down easily. And with Camerupt, we take it to yellow as it sets up Sunny Day, and we knock it out. Mud Slap lowers the Torkoal's accuracy, and we get hit hard with Body Slam. Thankfully, the Mud Slap pays off as it misses its next attack, allowing us to take it out and get another gym badge. I hate having to risk Skipper like this, but out of everyone in my party, he was going to be the hardest hitter and the one most likely to survive. After this, we can go ahead and head to Norman as Sparky evolves, and it's time to take in a new friend, Saitama. We get Saitama up to the level cap and a nicely evolved Hariyama before going through the gym and getting ready to fight Norman. With the amount of dark types that people like to have, a strong fighting type is actually going to work quite well for us through the rest of the game. We give Saitama a berry and in no time we're starting the battle. Spinda goes down to a single Vital Throw, and next up is Vigoroth, who hits us with 2 slashes before we snap out of confusion and take it out. Lanoon comes out and uses Belly Drum to cut its HP in half, but because of that we finish it off. Then Slaking comes out and Facade takes us down. I was just kidding about having a good fighting type, we don't need it. We send out Pepperoni and begin doing our best to wear it down. We use Sand Attack on its non-loafing turns and Rock Smash to start wearing down its defense. Ultimately, we make a misplay and counter-wrecks us, so that's 2 down in 1 battle. We send out Sparky and we paralyze it, making Facade horrifying, but the Sand Attack does pay off. It misses, and we manage to take it out, but we have 2 more deaths on our hands. After that, we deposit our friends into early retirement and stare quietly at the PC fighting off tears. 3 deaths in, but 5 badges. We're doing well despite the casualties, and we do need to make sure that these Pokemon do not go unavenged. We grab Iroh the Numel out of the box, and it's time to go ahead and keep moving forward. After some travel and more potential friends, we clear out the Weather Institute. Shelly is an easy sweep, Sparky taking out the Carvana, and Flappers is able to finish off the Myena. We name the Castform Avatar, obviously, and then go ahead and do one of the final May fights. May first up sends out Slugma, who Skipper takes out with a Surf. When Grovyle comes out, we swap to Iroh, who immediately gets wrecked. We switch back to Sparky and use Spark, and thankfully the next Leaf Blade, Static kicks in to paralyze it. We swap to Flappers to take it to Red as it stays paralyzed, then take it down next shot. Finally, it's down to Lombre as we get hit with a soft Fake Out. Next turn, we Wing Attack to Yellow, get hit with Absorb, then take it out for the victory. Fortree City is one of my favorite design cities in general, and by far my favorite one of Generation 3. Winona, however, is an absolute run killer, and with her Dragon Dancing Altaria, if you don't have a solid answer, and when you know it, we don't. But there's only one way to find out if we match up effectively. Swablu's out first, and we send out the evolved Iroh. Swablu wastes a turn using Mirror Move, and we take it out with Rock Slide. Pelipper is next, and we swap over to Sparky as it spams Protect until it fails, and we take it down with 1 Spark. Altaria is next, and we immediately Thunder Wave before swapping back to Iroh as it remains paralyzed. We do miss Rock Slide as it begins dancing. Earthquake takes us down to 11 HP and it stays paralyzed. Thankfully, Paralysis luck seems to be on our side as it stays paralyzed multiple turns and finally goes down. When Skarmory is out, we swap back to Sparky and use Spark to take it out with a critical hit. Last is Tropius, who we use Thunder Wave on as well. We Spark as it sets up Sunny Day. From here, we're basically trading attacks back and forth until we can finally take it out to win 1 more badge, but that was way too close with Iroh. From here, we grab a blue shard to nab a water stone, though if you do head east from Dewford, you can grab one on the ship. So now we can actually evolve Ferngully into his final form, and now we're closing in on the end of the Magma and Aqua storyline, but first, we have another gym to fight. Tate and Liza are a tag team, but I think we have a pretty good shot at being able to take them down. Solo challenges have prepared me very nicely for these. Xatu typically likes to set up with Calm Mind and Confuse Ray before going on the offensive, and Claydol typically only seems to attack with Earthquake. For what I have planned, we should be able to tank these two pretty well. I spent a long time theory crafting for this and actually looked at the calcs with a friend of mine to be able to start figuring out how many attacks I could survive, how many they could survive, etc. We level up to the cap, but it's time to try this double battle. We make sure to get Fern Gully, Ice Beam, and Giga Drain to give some added bulk. In this gen, Surf doesn't hit Pokemon on your team, but does hit both opponents, so we open up with Surf as Xatu uses Calm Mind. Now, Ice Beam and Surf are able to take it down pretty low, but the next turn we do get confused with Xatu's Confuse Ray, but we do manage to break through. Lunatone comes out and likes to set up Calm Mind first, so we continue to do our double down attack tactic as we hit it hard with combined Surf and Ice Beam. A Berry heals it up, and we take it out next turn with another attack. Light Screen is set up, which is unfortunate, but honestly, so far so good. We do end up hitting ourselves and have to swap out to Skipper due to our dwindling HP, and we go to Flappers, who also has a water move and can avoid an Earthquake. Solar Beam doesn't do much to Flappers, and Ferngully survives a Psychic in the red. From there, it's down to Claydol, and we use Giga Drain to get back some HP, survive another Psychic, and manage to take it out the next turn with an Ice Beam. That went far better than I had planned, and I was fully expecting to lose one, maybe two people, depending on how rough the battle went. If we had any kind of crit dealt against us, I'm fairly certain, most likely Ferngully, would have ended up dying. As much as I hate to say it, that would have been preferred, because a combined water-ground typing and a Nuzlocke that doesn't have all too many grass types is very nice to have. We go to the Space Center, but with Steven on our side, we breeze through, but there is one final Archie fight that we can go ahead and cover. Mightyena is up first, and we immediately open up with Thunderbolt that we got from Watson, and we take it down to red as it uses Swagger. Archie heals up, but we break through Confusion and take it down next turn. Crobat is next, and an absolute nightmare, and takes us all the way down to 52 HP, thanks to Confusion, before a single Thunderbolt ends it. With Sharpedo, we switch over to Ferngully just to be safe, and a critical hit immediately takes him to 51 HP, so we swap over to Swampert, who tanks his attacks. We do get Swaggered, but no Confusion hit, and we take it out in one shot.
One eternity later.
With Juan, we're actually pretty well off, given how Sparky has been handling things, and we just saved the world, so we're pretty much unstoppable, so let's go ahead and just see how we do. Love Disc is first, and Thunderbolt one-shots it. With Whiscash, we swap to Ferngully and use Giga Drain, which also crits to one-shot. I don't think the crit was needed. With Celio, we swap back to Sparky and take it out in one shot. Crawdon is next, and we knock it out, and then finally it's Kingdra, who we start with paralyzing it. It is using Double Team, so we swap to Shockwave to take it to yellow, then cross our fingers as a Thunderbolt thankfully connects to take it out and win us a pretty easy 8th gym badge. From here, there's only one more Wally fight in Victory Road, and even the pre-Elite Four fight isn't too much to worry about. Wally first sends out Altaria, and we send out Ferngully, who tanks an Aerial Ace. I just noticed I've been saying that a lot, before knocking it out in one shot. Next is Rosalia, who we swap over to Iroh for and get Toxic. Giga Drain doesn't do much, but we do have to swap before Poison becomes too much. Flappers does go ahead and finish it off. Magneton comes out, and we swap to Skipper, who is able to take it out in one mud shot. Next is Delcatty, and a few mud shots and Surf later it goes down. Gardevoir is set up and sets up a Future Sight, and then we critical hit a Surf to take it out and give us an immediate line to the Elite Four. Everything we've done, every loss, every close call has prepared us for these next 5 fights, potentially 6. We level up to the Champion's Ace and give it a go. Sydney is the first of the Elite Four, and he specializes in Dark types, which, yeah, Saitama would have been really nice for this particular fight, but Mightyena is first, and we managed to take it down with Earthquake. When Cacturn comes out, we swap over to Iroh, who shrugs off an attack, and takes it down with Eruption. Next up is Crawdon, and we swap over to Sparky, who gets hit with Surf before taking it down. Shiftry is up, and we swap over to Ferngully, who thankfully manages to hit despite the 2 double teams that Shiftry has used. And then finally it's Absol, and Ferngully uses Strength. Aerial Ace takes us way down, before we swap to Skipper, who gets hit hard, but we do manage to outspeed, use Earthquake, and take it down for the victory. Next up is Phoebe, who specializes in the Ghost type, and we spent a long time looking at this matchup. Despite how fast the Aberline is, we actually still don't outspeed, probably because Lucky is only a Kadabra, so we can't send him out first because he'll likely go down. On the flip side, we also can't send him in on an attack unless we know that they're going to be using Protect, because guess what? He'll still go down. So with that being said, we send out Camerupt first, and Dusclops opens with Protect, and next turn we hit it with Earthquake as it takes itself out with Curse, but it also puts him on a timer. With the next Dusclops, we immediately swap to Flappers, get hit with Rock Slide, and then go to Skipper, who takes far less and takes it red with Earthquake. It buries out of its healing range and then goes down. Next is Bayonet, who we drown with 2 Surfs, and then Sableye goes to yellow, then gets taken out by a critical hit Surf. By now, our special is down 1 stage, and we're well below half HP, so we do go ahead and swap to Ferngully, who Ice Beams it to red, gets taken all the way down to 41 HP, and then finishes it off to win the battle. Next up is Glacia, who thankfully makes the same mistake as Lorelei, and with her Ice Pokemon, has a healthy dose of Water Pokemon as well. Celio is up first and goes down to a single Thunderbolt, and next is Glalie, who we take to yellow. It uses Light Screen, and we take it down next turn. The next Celio goes to yellow, sets up Hail, then goes down. Glalie isn't hit too hard by the Thunderbolt thanks to the Light Screen, and hits us down to 60, but we do manage to take it to a Sliver, paralyze it, and it stays paralyzed, but then gets healed up. Thankfully though, Light Screen fades and we take it down 2 turns later, and with Walrein, we can take it out in 1 super effective Thunderbolt. Fourth to the floor is Drake the Dragon Master, and it's time for Ferngully to take the lead with Ice Beam. Drake sends out Shelgon first and always wastes time with Protect, but we do manage to land a Flash in the meantime. Next turn, we can take it out with Ice Beam. Altaria starts off by dancing, so we take it out in 1 turn. Kingdra is a bit tricky given the fact that it does have Smokescreen strats, and we do Giga Drain for health, but ultimately swap to Sparky to take care of it, paralyzing it before it heals up. From there, we take it down with 40 HP to spare. Swapping to Skipper, we can go ahead and handle a few Earthquakes before it finally goes down to Surf. Swapping to Ferngully with Salamence, we take a few hits before we can actually go ahead and take it down with Ice Beam. With that, we can heal up and we can head to fight the champion and kind of see how things go. One more fight before this challenge is over. Kinda. Wallace is last, and for a champion, well, Sparky takes his time dismantling the first 2 Pokemon in the biggest bloodbath I've ever seen. Ferngully takes out Whiscash and gets hit hard by Tentacruel's Sludge Bomb, but Sparky takes it down, but unfortunately does get hit with Toxic. As Ludicolo comes out, we swap over to Flappers as Ludicolo double team. Fly is doing a decent set of damage, but we do get Leech Seeded, so our health is dwindling when we do use Fly, but we do take it out. Finally, Milotic is last, and we have one option as we send out Skipper, getting hit hard with Surf. Thankfully, it only takes us to 11 HP, and we land one final Earthquake to win the battle and the challenge. Now, if you've played these games or watched prior challenges, you know that the challenge is technically won, but still technically not over. We have a super not-so-secret fight anymore against Steven, and we want to see how our Nuzlocke team fares. Now, this is a bit of advice. If you're going for a perfect run, no deaths, it's obviously different. But with this final battle, you can basically be as reckless as you want to be as long as you win the run. Let's get started. We level up to his Ace's Pokemon, given the massive level jump, and let's just see how we do. Skarmory is first and goes down to a single hit from Sparky. We swap to Skipper as Aggron stores up for Solar Beam, and we take it out. With Cradilly, we swap to Lucky and take it to about half with Psychic before going down to Ancient Power, and it does get the Omni Boost. We get confused as we send out Flappers, but we do take it out with Hydro Pump. Claydol sets up Light Screen, and we do land another Hydro Pump and hit ourselves as it sets up Reflect. We snap out of Confusion, take it to red, and it heals up, meaning the Water Gun is very little damage and doesn't take it out. It does set up Light Screen again, but goes down to 2 more Hydro Pumps. As Armaldo comes out, it's time to say goodbye to Flappers, and we land a soft hit before we go down. We send out Ferngully and take it below half with 2 Ice Beams before we also go down to Aerial Ace. Camerupt gets taken a low with Water Pulse, but Earthquake takes it out before a Meteor Mashing Metagross, try saying that 5 times fast, takes us down and takes Sparky down with a single hit, though we did do a good chunk of damage. From there, it's a lot of surfing and hoping until finally a critical hit surf lands, wins us the challenge, and leaving us the same way we started, with Skipper, the one who never left us. Now, I'll be honest, this game is very much one I'd like to try to monolock or letter lock as we move on, but more importantly, I need to know what you all think. So, in all seriousness, leave a comment, leave a thumbs up, let me know if you like this video somehow. Next week, we'll be doing either Ammonite or Kabuto in Pokemon Fire Red, and I'm excited to keep working on these. My goal is to be able to focus on completing 1 or 2 weeks so I can still keep a decent backlog, and also be able to keep growing on this platform, especially given the recent scares with Twitch within the past month. As always, I'll keep you updated best I can in the Discord and on Twitter. So, until next time, everybody, if you liked the video, even if you didn't like the video, think about hitting the like and subscribe button, because it really does help me out. And until next time, everybody, peace out.